The text message glowed on my phone screen like a knife in the dark. Miss you already. Can't wait for next time. It was from Ethan, her so-called best friend, sent to my wife, Claire, at 2:17 a.m. I stood frozen in our dimly lit kitchen, the hum of the fridge deafening in the silence. My thumb hovered over the screen, heart pounding as if it might crack my ribs. I wasn't supposed to see this. Claire had left her phone on the counter, unlocked, a rare slip for someone who guarded it like a diary. I wanted to believe it was nothing. A friendly late-night text, a harmless inside joke. But the words burned, each syllable a splinter under my skin. Claire and I had been married for 7 years. Our love a quiet rhythm of shared coffee mugs and late-night Netflix binges. She was the kind of woman who lit up rooms, her laugh a melody that made strangers smile. Ethan had been her friend since college, a constant in her life long before I came along. I'd never minded him, his easy grin, his quick wit, the way he'd show up with craft beer and stories that made Claire's eyes sparkle. But lately something had shifted. A glance held too long. A text answered too quickly. A hug that lingered a beat past friendly. When I mentioned it last week, Claire's face had twisted, her voice sharp. You're so insecure, Mark. He's like my brother. Stop making it weird. Now, standing in the kitchen, I scrolled up, my stomach churning. Messages stretched back weeks, innocent at first, then warmer, secretive. Lunch tomorrow? Ethan wrote. Can't, Mark's home, Claire replied. Sneak away. I'll make it quick. My breath caught. She'd told me she was at yoga that day. I pictured her now, not in leggings and a sports bra, but sitting across from Ethan, her smile unguarded, her hand brushing his. I wanted to scream, to hurl the phone against the wall, but instead, I set it down, my hands trembling. The clock above the stove ticked toward 3 a.m. Claire was asleep upstairs, oblivious to the storm brewing in my chest. The next morning, I watched her over breakfast, searching for cracks in her usual warmth. She stirred sugar into her coffee, humming softly, her auburn hair catching the sunlight streaming through the window. The domesticity of it felt like a lie. You sleep okay? She asked, her voice light, unaware of the weight crushing me. I nodded, my throat tight. Yeah. You. She smiled, oblivious. Like a rock. I wanted to confront her then, to demand answers, but the words stuck. What if I was wrong? What if I was, as she'd said, just insecure? Days passed, each one a tightrope walk between doubt and denial. I noticed things I'd brushed off before. Her phone face down on the table, the way she'd angle it away when typing, the faint scent of cedarwood cologne, Ethan's cologne on her scarf. I told myself it was nothing. Friends share scents, don't they? But at night, alone with my thoughts, the questions gnawed. Why did she laugh louder with him? Why did her eyes soften when his name came up? I started checking her phone when she showered, hating myself for it. Each new message was a puzzle piece, forming a picture I didn't want to see. You looked gorgeous today, Ethan wrote. You're not so bad yourself, Claire replied, with a winking emoji that felt like a punch. I couldn't keep quiet anymore. That Friday after dinner, I waited until she set her wineglass down. The living room was warm, the glow of fairy lights casting soft shadows on the walls. Claire, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. We need to talk about Ethan. Her eyes flicked up, wary, like a deer sensing danger. What about him? She asked, her tone clipped. I swallowed, the words heavy. You're too close with him. It's crossing a line. She laughed, a sharp, brittle sound. You're so insecure, Mark. He's my friend. You're making this into something it's not. But her hands fidgeted, twisting the hem of her sweater. And I saw it, the flicker of guilt in her eyes. Am I? I pressed, my voice rising. Then why's he texting you at 2 a.m.? Why's he saying he misses you? Her face paled, just for a moment, before she recovered. You went through my phone? She shot back, her voice a mix of anger and betrayal. That's slow, Mark. I stood, pacing, my heart racing. Don't turn this on me. You're lying to me. You're sneaking around with him. She stood too, her eyes blazing. I'm not sneaking. He's my friend. You're blowing this out of proportion. But her voice cracked, and I knew I was right. The truth unraveled over the next week, each revelation a fresh wound. I found a receipt in her purse for a coffee shop, She claimed she hadn't visited. I overheard her on the phone, her voice low, promising Ethan she'd figure it out. I followed her one afternoon, my stomach in knots, and saw them at a park, sitting too close on a bench, her head on his shoulder. It wasn't an affair, not yet, but it was something worse, a betrayal of trust, a slow drift toward someone else. I confronted her again that night, my voice raw with pain. "Do you love him?" I asked, dreading the answer. She looked away, tears in her eyes. "I don't know," she whispered. "I love you, but he gets me in a way you don't." Her words were a blade, slicing through 7 years of vows and memories. I wanted to hate her, to hate Ethan, but all I felt was grief. She wasn't a villain. She was human, flawed, torn between loyalty and longing. I saw her struggle, the guilt in her eyes, the way she still reached for my hand in the night. But it wasn't enough. I moved out the next day, leaving behind the house we'd built together, the life I thought we'd share forever. A month later, I sat in a dimly lit bar, nursing a whiskey, when my phone buzzed. A text from Claire. "I'm sorry. I ended things with Ethan. Can we talk?" I stared at the words, my heart a battlefield of hope and hurt. Then another text came, this one from an unknown number. A photo loaded slowly. Claire and Ethan, laughing in a car, her hand on his thigh, time-stamped an hour ago. The message read, "She's lying to you again." My glass slipped from my hand, shattering on the floor. The bar's noise faded, leaving only the echo of my breaking heart. Claire hadn't chosen me, not fully. And as I sat there, surrounded by strangers, I realized the twist that cut deepest. The betrayal wasn't just hers. It was mine for believing love could ever be enough.